Hello everyone, my name is Drew Dosek with Verified Investing, and welcome to Trading the Close. Wow, a lot of stuff going on today. We have big earnings news coming out in just a little bit with Nvidia. It's almost as big as the FOMC announcement. A lot of the stocks today started crashing down, but first the day started positive. We gapped up and started moving up, and then it was right about lunchtime, everything changed. People started realizing, we've got a big earnings report that really can sway the market, and the reason for that is Nvidia's market cap size is so large. So that's going to be coming up in about 20 minutes. But before then, let's go cover some details over here on the big board. You see here, we basically have flat all across the board. The Dow Jones down 0.4%, NASDAQ's up 0.1%, S&P 500 is flat. Oil is down again. We're going to take a look at that chart here in a little bit, and I'm going to show you what we're looking at. Gold is up just slightly, but Bitcoin has been getting rocked. Now 3 big days down on Bitcoin. Very important for the risk on asset that Bitcoin is. See over here on the heat map, much like I described, whole bunch of mixed colors, lots of reds and greens, but the main one of them all, the one in focus today, Nvidia is up 3.3%. All right, so that brings me into the SPX. Let's take a look at this. All right, so for the SPX, I told you guys last week, and I'd mentioned that we were chopping around this area right above this trend line that's right here. I was saying as long as we stayed up here, we had a chance to move higher. That obviously didn't happen. We had a huge sell-off day breaking through these trend lines, and now we're starting to catch support right here towards the bottom end of that parallel. Depending upon what happens today with the earnings of Nvidia, we could see the SPX retesting the inclining area of this trend line right about 5,900. So keep that on the radar there. This next thing with SMH, next chart, I wanted to show you guys what happens when prices break out and then fail to break out. So what we've had happen here, we've had SMH fought for several days to get up within the parallel channel. And once it did get up there, it established itself and looked like it was about to make another move to go higher, maybe with a minor retrace to the bottom end of this parallel, but nope, not so fast. This area right here is called a failed breakout. And what happens with failed breakouts, you have the biggest moves. So we had a big move right down here. Today we got a bounce up. It was looking like everything was about to return to normal and positive momentum coming back to the markets, but that so far has not lasted. We're going to be moving down potentially if Nvidia has bad earnings or any guidance that is bad. You can better believe this bottom area of support at 233.80 will be tested. Now let's say everything's rosy with Nvidia. Then we're going to start making our way back up, attempting to get into that top end of the parallel. Just to show you on another chart how failed breakouts work, let's take a look at this Meta chart right here. You can see here on Meta, we had a failed breakout right here, much like was trying to happen with SMH. We were trying to break back up into that parallel. This failed breakout just brought price all the way back down to 640 on the chart of Meta. So pay attention to these. When these breakouts fail, you're going to be having big moves in the opposite direction. All right, this brings me into gold. Gold has really not done too much. It's kind of chopped around in this area. We did have a big sell day yesterday. Today is fairly flat, but just keep in mind we are extended in gold. Likely we should come back down to the middle area of that parallel channel, right around $2,850. Silver, not too much to report here either. We did have a failed breakout in this area, and now we're coming back to this support. So silver is still safe. If silver does continue to fall, you can expect support right here about $29.88, followed by the $28.23 area. All right, here's what I think is one of the more bigger stories of the day. We have a big 3-bar surge move down on Bitcoin. You see here this big blue parallel channel, right? So we had a break of this parallel channel here, a confirming move here, and an accelerated move here. In the short term, we're oversold on Bitcoin. Well, does that mean Bitcoin's going to bounce now? Not necessarily, but usually when breakdowns occur from parallels, we get a typical trace back to where price broke down from. So with this 3-bar surge, those usually ends 3 big moves at once. It usually concludes the selling pressure just because, again, it's short-term oversold. So what I anticipate is Bitcoin to curl back up, maybe even retest the bottom end of this parallel channel right around $92,000 before falling back down to $75,000. In addition, the $75,000 has been on the radar for quite a while. If we get a lot of selling pressure, this also could get blown through. Next area of support on Bitcoin is going to be just under $64,000. All right, that brings me into oil. Oil, I wanted to point out, look at this chart on oil. This is the weekly chart. And I've developed this nice wedge pattern, or pennant if you want to call it. But then ultimately, we'll look at the time count that's happened on the chart. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 candles now down, which is the ideal time count right into an upsloping trend line. This area is likely going to provide support for oil in the near term. Watch to see if price action bounces or if we consolidate on this area. If we consolidate, that means oil is heading lower, much like the drill baby drill statement that we've been hearing from our government. And then next chart up, Tesla. Tesla has been under a ton of pressure recently. Right up here, I was calling that Tesla should come down and retest the $360 area. We've easily done that and now surpassed that. We've even broken trend lines that have garnered support in previous trading days. So where's Tesla headed to next? Major support on Tesla is going to be right here at 260. It's the intersection of these two trend lines. But even if selling pressure persists, especially if we have bad earnings on Nvidia, you can anticipate that level to get blown through too. We do have a gap fill that lines up with a whole bunch other chop area of support right around $216. Watch that area on Tesla. This next chart up, APP, you've got to be really, this chart has just been incredible to follow with the momentum and the euphoria pushing the price around from highs and lows. It's truly been incredible. Much like on the oil chart, what do we have here? We've got a time count also, but just notice this parallel first. Let me draw your attention here to this parallel. This parallel pulls together this pivot point to this pivot point to this pivot point, and then today we had a huge fall down, broke through this parallel, but this long-term yellow trend line and this parallel ultimately gave enough support for the stock and pushed the stock price right back up, now trading back within that parallel. But again, it's a time count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. We were anticipating potentially some sort of move. I would also anticipate APP to move up tomorrow, at least for the near term, probably in the morning, even if Nvidia has bad earnings. And here, the big one of them all, I saved it for last. All right, Nvidia, what's it going to do on earnings? And really, quite frankly, when you look at this chart, there's nothing that's really telling me it's going to go one way or the other, because simply Nvidia is just right in the middle area of the bottom section of this parallel. So it could easily go either direction. So what I've done is I've got levels above for us to keep an eye on, and I've got levels below for us to notice as well. The areas above, the middle area of this parallel, right around $140, but then I also have, just like on the other chart, intersecting trend lines right here that's right around 145. So around 140 to 145, you're going to see a lot of resistance in that area. Now to the downside, we have this area right here, right around $118 that's on the bottom end of the parallel channel, followed by another support trend line right around 108, but ultimately down here at 104.10 is where we have very good support for Nvidia. Earnings are going to be coming out here in about 20 minutes. Stay tuned for that. It's going to be amazing to see. And that's going to be it for the charts I've got for Trading the Close. Thank you all so much for joining me here at Trading the Close and tuning in. We've got a word from our sponsor, so please go ahead and enjoy that here in a moment. My name's Drew Dosek. Follow me on Twitter. I've got a whole bunch of news articles and posts that have a lot more information and details for charts just like this. Thanks again.
Hey guys, Lawton with Verified Investing here. We're back with another video. Last video I told you I was going to show you how to trade, so let's get right into it. Let's say you want to trade Pepe USDT, right? So in this case, let's say I'm looking at the chart action, and I think that this sideways consolidation means Pepe should go up. Well, I can put amount of Pepe I want or the amount of US dollars I'd like to put into this. In this case, let's say I'm going to put $150, but since I'm can use 10 times leverage, it's going to cost me, you see here, only $15. So let's buy it by market price, and it looks like I'm in. Another thing I could do is drag this and put in a stop loss. I can also add a take profit up here. So now my levels are in. I have a stop loss, a take profit, and my order's been filled. So it's just that easy to trade with Applovin. All right, tune in next time where I show you about copy trading and some of the other cool things that Applovin has to offer.